Here we go again. Today we're back. We've got another video. Today we've got the Week 12 NFL picks. Honestly, crazy saying Week 12 already, right? Um, shit. I mean, yeah, I'm playing somebody the second time in fantasy too. It's wild. This season's going so quick, bro. We're getting closer and closer to baseball. Love it. Let's get right into it. Thursday night football. I've got the Josh Allen jersey on, but in this one, I think I'm going to side with the Texans. Now, I know CJ Stroud's out. Davis Mills is still going to be starting. The big thing for me in this game is how Josh Allen has played against Houston. Not just last year where he lost the game and he struggled. He probably hit his worst game of his season. And obviously he won MVP. So, you have to look at that. His first year, first or second year, he played in the playoffs against Houston. Didn't play that good in that game either. I think this is a bad game. They're playing, whatever. You could call them the one, you could call them the two. They're the top two defense in football. I think this is a game, the Texans can make close, and I think they could. I don't think they're gonna win, but I think they're gonna. I think the Bills win by a field goal. I like how they're moving the ball with Davis Mills. This is a big game for Woody Marks. The Bills' run defense is one of the worst three units in football. And I think him and Nick Chubb will have a good game in this one. If they could get Nico Collins moving, they could definitely win it too. So, game number two. Now, this lucky fucking team, man. Now, Jamar Chase is suspended. And this is brutal. This is really, really brutal. Now, they're back home after losing by 20 something to Pittsburgh. The Pats have a long week off. I kind of like Cincy in this one, man. I don't know. This spread was at 9 after the Chase news and has gone all the way down to 7-5. Now, the Pats don't look to have anybody major. Nobody else major out besides Milton Williams. They're probably second best defensive player. Their defensive tackle. He signed a massive deal this offseason. He's gone on IR. That's a big loss. The Pats' run defense has been one of the best units in football. Chase Brown might have a better day when it's not, Milton Williams up there. Flacco's been really good. Honestly, this season, last week he was worse, but, he's been really, giving him a chance to stay afloat without Burrow. Higgins will have a good game. Savage, I hate him, but he'll probably do decently. Same with Fant. Chase Brown's a really good elite receiving back. It's really how much can you stop the Pats offense. Now, the Pats offense looked a little worse last week. I think anyone saw that. I know Stevenson's back this week, so Stevenson is expected to play this week. So the usage is unknown, kind of, because we don't know who's going to be RB1 in this game. I think Cincy can make it close. The over-under's at 50.5. I think Cincy can make it close enough, and I think the Pats win by 4. Now, we've got the Giants and the Lions. Now, Jackson Dart is expected to play, but this really won't change my opinion here. Detroit's off a bad game against Philly. I think this is a really good bounce-back spot. The Giants just, I don't think they're not a bottom 3 team. Maybe they're bottom 5. They're probably a bottom 7 team. They're just not there yet. When your all-pro receivers out, a Pro Bowl caliber running backs out, you can't really do a lot with that. I like Tyrone Tracy, but he's just not the same player as Scat. So this is a good bounce back spot for Detroit. Campbell's calling plays. I liked how they played against Washington. I know he's super aggressive against Philly, but, you gotta be against a team like that. If you want to beat, the reigning champs, you gotta play aggressively. And that bad penalty at the end of the game, maybe stopped them making it interesting. So, now we're on to Seattle and Tennessee. Now, this is a weird one, too, because you've got 2 games in a row with this one and then the Jets game. sitting at 13-5. Now, it's one of these clearly the underdog's gonna hit, and the other one the favorite's gonna hit. Now, I'm always saying how much I hate huge road favorites. Seahawks at 14, and this is a really good away team. I think Seahawks. I mean, every sign points to them, right? Like, you know. But I'm actually gonna say Tennessee in this one. I like how Cam Ward played last week. The receivers around him are horrible. I get it. Ridley's out for the season now. DK should play. Amenor's okay. You know, Okonkwo's good. Um, Helms playing more. You know, Tyjae's looked better than Pollard as well. I think their defense is a better unit. I don't think they're going to lose this game by 13.5. Unless, you know, they just throw multiple pick sixes. You know, I know the Seahawks have a very good defense, probably a top 7 unit in football. I just don't see them blowing them out by this much. This is too low of a number for me. So, yep. And then moving on. I'm probably going to be wrong, and, you know, I'm going to be off on both these, but I'm going to say Baltimore. Now, Lamar, you know, he's just getting back from injury, basically. You know, I know they're not, you know, blowing anybody out yet. You know, only winning by 7, 8. Miami, they had a big win. They had a 20-something point win. But, you know, the Jets kind of are just dead in the water. You know, I know they played the Pats close last week. You know, it was only a 13-point game, right? Fields is benched. Garrett Wilson's injured. You know, the defense is just not there. I mean, I think Derrick Henry's about to have a field day. Lamar should be able to run over him. The pass defense really isn't there. I think this is a good game for the Ravens to keep their momentum going. Now they're going to get over 500. They're going to be a game over 500 after this game. But, you know, with the Ravens prime fashion, they'll probably lose this game, right? You know, they did lose to Vegas last year, so. Which probably lost Lamar MVP. Which actually fucked Vegas' pick, too. So. Now, probably the game of the week. I mean, surely it's the game of the week, right? Oh no, the Eagles and Cowboys. Yeah. No, the Colts and Chiefs is an elite game. The Chiefs, again, playing a really good team. They have really struggled against good teams this year. I believe they're 0-5 against, you know, teams over 500. You know, obviously they lost to the Bills. They lost to the Broncos. They lost to, you know, I think the only good team they beat was, you know, the Chargers for the other one. You know, Jacksonville, especially in the AFC too. I mean, I know they beat Detroit, but this team just doesn't look it right now. They don't look. They're not playing the part. The Colts are off a bye. You know, they had that game in Germany that they won. Jonathan Taylor. You know, they got the best player in this game. Chris Jones looks like he's fallen off a cliff. You know, Kelsey's looked okay. Mahomes looked good, but I just don't. I don't see the Chiefs. You know, beating them by 3+ at all. You know, I'm sure most of the money's going to be on the Colts, but this is just a game where it's like, you just can't, I just can't picture the Chiefs winning this comfortably. If they do, I think this is a game decided by a field goal, you know, as most Chiefs games have been, right? But they have, like, look, 1-possession games, they have struggled all year. That's kind of what I was getting into with Buffalo, Denver, Chargers, Jags, you know. Hasn't been pretty at all for him. So now we have another interesting one. So I believe this is. I don't think we had a 6.5 up here. No, we had 6. Okay. Minnesota and Green Bay. This is a weird one because, you know, these division games are always tricky. Now, the big note for Green Bay in this one is actually Josh Jacobs is not expected to play. He's day-to-day per the coach, but I don't think anyone expects him to play in this one. I think this spread will go down to 6, maybe 5.5 if he is ruled out. The total is super low because you have 2 top 10 defenses at the end of the day. Yeah, so yeah, so you have two top 10 defenses in this game. So this is going to be an interesting one. Christian Watson, Dobbs, the wide receiver three, Bo Melton, Wicks. Like, it's not the greatest. I really do think, I put my money on, or my pick on JJ last week, but I think this is a game that's close. Those division games, it's worth noting that they don't give them, a touchdown, and the Packers are definitely a better team by a bit than Minnesota. So I think this is one they make close. I think Green Bay could definitely win, but we'll see. I'm curious to see how they move the ball without such an elite player. Probably their best player in offense. I know Kraft is really good, but he's no Jacobs, right? So now again another weird one because the Bears have the third best record. The third highest team in the NFC standings, right? I know Seattle's got a better record, whatever. But the Bears are 7-4, man. 7-3, sorry. What a difference a year makes, right? Like, look how bad they looked, a year ago, Thanksgiving. Matty Eberflus can't even, get the clock right? Like, it's just incredible. The step they've taken to get to here. This is a big game too, because the Steelers, the Ravens are right on their door, and Jalen Warren's questionable. I'm not sure he's going to play. I think he will. Aaron Rodgers definitely not playing, but the offense just looks so lethargic right now. I know Boswell's been really good. He just can't move the ball, and especially in games away from home, they've really just struggled this season. I think this is a game the Bears win, probably cover as well. I would just be more comfortable just taking them straight up because I think this is another game for the Bears to just keep their season going. Next week they also play Philly on Friday, so they're on a short week next week as well, which I don't think they're going to win that one. I'll go out and say it as 8-point underdogs. So now we have a couple of interesting ones here. The Jags and Cardinals to start. Now, the Cardinals had a weird week because Jacoby Brissett broke an NFL record for the most completions in an NFL game with 47. They also proceeded to lose by 20 points, so I'm not really sure where we're at with that. Their defense looked really bad. Yeah, I mean, when you start the game and they score on the second play, like the first play on offense and the second play of the game, it's not really the easiest, way to play it. They were trailing basically the entire game, right? Like second play of the game after the kickoff, 98 yards. So I'd be comfortable with Jaguars. Jacoby Myers looked good. They're off a big win. This is probably a trap game for them, but I think they're going to pull it out. I trust Liam Cohen. I think they could get over the hump of Kansas City, who's behind them. I know, that's kind of what's you could kind of tell it's planned into their mind because last week, they choked that big lead, and then they play really good against, the Chargers. I said the Jaguars almost, but I think this is another good game. They win by 6 or 7. No joke intended there, but I think they get to 7-5, and they have a very favorable schedule for the rest of the season. I don't know what happened there. Whatever. Okay, so then we've got Cleveland and Vegas. I don't even want to pick this, bro. Jesus Christ. Like, you've got the first game for Shedeur Sanders as a starter, and you got Geno Smith. Now, I think the Raiders are a worse team. I think these defenses are probably going to both dominate. But I do think the Raiders win this one, and I think they win by 6 points. I think they definitely cover. I trust Geno more. I mean, this is not a great matchup for Shedeur. um, or anyone, in, like for either team. But like I think the Raiders are gonna pull it out. It's gonna be really low scoring. It's gonna be like 16. No, that doesn't make sense. It's gonna be like 15-7 or something like that. So, um, so if you are betting on this game, consider calling yourself the hotline. I would never, ever, ever, ever want to put any money on that shit. Please, like, yeah, bet responsibly, truly. Now we've got game, technically the game of the week, but best game at this window. We got the Eagles. We got the Dallas Cowboys. This spread sits at 3 to Dallas. Dallas coming off a really good win. They had their bye before that. I like how their offense is looking. I've talked before. They've got a top 5 offense probably. The Eagles, they've got a top 5 defense. So this is a tricky game for Dallas, and I don't think they could stop Eagles on offense. I know Hurts had a bad week. Detroit's defense is pretty good. I think this is a good bounce back spot. I think the Eagles win and cover by 3. I think they probably win by a touchdown at least. It's just too good of a matchup for every player on their team. I like Quinn Williams. He had a really good first game, but brother, this is not pretty for him against the champs. So this is the best team in the NFL. No Colts. I mean, shit. I got the Broncos jersey right there. It's not us either. It's definitely still Philly. I know we beat them. It's gonna be hard to beat them again if we ever play. Now, this is a weird one too. Now, worth noting, Drake London's been ruled out. Michael Penix's gonna have to get his ACL repaired again, which is brutal because he's 26 only, right? He's going on 27. They don't even have their first round pick. This pick's gonna end up as a top 5 pick. Just you can't make that shit up, man. I'm gonna just say the Saints. I've said before, Kellen Moore. I really like him. I really like what he's doing with this team. I like Tyler Shuck. He got a ton of stick. I like Bo Nix. When we took him, I wanted JJ. Funny because we got the guy who's doing better right now. But he's just a good passer. He's smart. You know, mistakes happen. I know he's a little older, but he's definitely more disciplined. And he's a little quick too, honestly. But he can really sling it. So yeah, I'd say give me the Saints. The Falcons are dead in the water. I think this is a game that gets Raheem Morris fired finally. So yeah. Now the last two, we've got the Rams, we've got the Buccaneers. This is a weird one too, because this one's sitting at 6.5. I'm gonna say the Rams. This is probably the second best team in the NFC. It's just impossible for me to, pick against them right now. This offense looks too good. This defense is top 7 unit. Now the Bucks, their offense looked better against Buffalo, who's a good passing unit, but the Rams are definitely more complete as a team. Their run defense is much better. I don't think Sean Tucker is going to be running all over them. Godwin's not going to play. I don't think Bucky's going to play. I think this is just a Rams by 13. So, last game of the week. Panthers at 49ers. Now, this is a big game for playoffs. Now, Panthers are right on the edge. 49ers, I believe, are holding down that 7 seed. This spread sits at 7. Panthers coming off their big win. Their big comeback win. They were down 13 to Atlanta. That's a big win. It's like I just can't tell with this team. I said it last week. You just don't know what type of player is coming out, with Bryce Young. Is he going to make mistakes, or is the defense going to save him? Last week, the defense didn't really save him. I mean, they did later when Kirk was in, because Kirk's shit. But, he was unbelievable. That's the best game of his career by a mile. That was one of the best games of the season, too. So, I would feel confident with the Panthers plus 7. I think I don't. I'm just, I think both teams' defense is really good. I just don't think the Niners are going to blow them out. You know, the Panthers probably have a top 10, 12 defense, and I think Bryce could do enough. I don't think the 49ers defense is crazy. They have too many injuries right now, all over the place. So I would say give me the Panthers, and that's it. So if you agree, let me know, and if you disagree, you know, let me know in the comments. And as always, leave a like, sub, comment. It means a lot. Thank you. Peace out.